Hey, cinema aficionados, Dan Patton for Screen Magazine. Today I am Zooming with Shawn Papazian, the man who has been tapped to lead and oversee the development and operations at the newest addition to the Chicago film community, Field Studios on the Northwest Side. Shawn, good morning, and thanks for joining us at 7:30 a.m. from Los Angeles.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Now, looking at your background, you are an experienced and accomplished and Emmy-nominated director, producer, and writer. How is that experience going to help play into your efforts to make Field Studios a success?
Because I can understand the pain points of the client, and I understand what they're going through, when they're going through it, and I think I can anticipate when problems will happen, and having our team step in front and kind of guide through when those things occur before they occur, and understanding what's important and it's about, again, they've got a million things happening and they're pushing it a million miles an hour and trying to be considerate and understood of that process and that high intense process and making sure that we're there to service and being a complement, not a detraction from that process.
Excellent. And Field Studios frequently is described as a purpose-built studio for producers by producers. What exactly does that mean? And what makes this place cool? I mean, you have been involved in a lot of film projects. What do you like about Field Studios?
To me, it's an environment. It's a campus. When you walk on the property, you just think of a myriad of ideas, of locations, looks that you can shoot, areas of the building that you can morph. It's also a campus where we've got an existing grocery store on site. We also have intentions. We're building out a retail corridor where we'll have a coffee grab and go. We'll have a dry cleaners. We'll have a few other things. So in addition to the commercial office space, where we have Crate and Barrel that does all their creative work for the company nationally, it's a coexistence, the studio it is, and the productions that will be there with all of those other components and those other opportunities. So it becomes a all-encompassing one-stop shop where we're going to build out, with very good vendors, an ecosystem so we can service the clients from lighting a grip to camera to model making. So, all of that coupled together, combined, makes it a unique environment that frankly is comparable only to some studios in the world. And in addition to that, we're in an area that we're close to, within 2 miles, we have like 12 single-star Michelin restaurants. We have other retail, we have bars, and we have Home Depots and the Ross Dress for Less all around. So all of these surrounding businesses and vendors that can service to the productions are frankly, all within walking distance. And so that coupled with the building, we feel like we're in a special place, in a special city, and we have a special building. But ultimately it was Olson Rug Factory before it was Marshall Fields. And the way that they designed that was a manufacturing plant with a community environment involved for the staff. So it had a lot of the nuances of what a studio could be. And when they designed it originally, they considered what the employees would be doing after hours. And so when you walk on the site, you can see rooftop deck opportunities. You can see all these other spaces that, again, are unique. And when my partners came across the building originally, one of my partners, Zane, had a lot of experience with developing cool different areas of New York and Chicago. He was responsible for identifying Groupon building in Chicago and why that turned into what it did, and took a gamble. He saw, and they saw, both Zane and Matt, an opportunity to do something special, but they didn't know yet what they thought would be special, because the building, with the way the structure is, the high ceilings in the offices, you can drive cars through every single floor. The layout, where we have residential as well. We have 123 apartments, so you can combine that with everything else that I'd mentioned. And it just had the opportunity to do so much in almost 1.5 million square feet of an existing building on 23 acres. So vast and big and, opportunistic. And when it comes to jumping back to purpose built, soundproof sound stages, top quality, so that any top level production can have the optimal quality environment to manufacture their content. Silent air, silent heat. We have the biggest sound stages in Chicago. We have two pairs of 18,000 square foot stages that can combine into a 36,000 square foot stage. So we're excited to be, involved with a product that helps the productions that really see the value optimize the output of their product while they're making it.
Excellent. And it also looks like, I mean, one of your worries is you have the bays for semis to load and unload gear because of the previous function of the building. With all this going on, how do you see Field Studios joining the Chicago film industry and the current environment, the current community of filmmakers and facilities that are here?
Well, the other two competitors, CineSpace and Studio City, are great people, great operators. I think we all have a different thing to add to the environment of the studio environment. John Credidio and his family, they built an incredible operation and have been, stewards of the community for many moons. And it has a very family feel that we really appreciate. And that's for producers, by producers in some capacity. So we feel like we have a relationship with how they're known and how they operate through the way we're going to operate. CineSpace, again, friends, and they have a vastness of stage space. So, being able to facilitate a lot of productions in Chicago, again, demand is satisfied through the infrastructure. And, we are complementing to the additional need of that infrastructure so that demand that's coming in now has somewhere to go. And so we think, with our site, where it's located, the type of product we're making, we're different than our other two friends in the space, but we feel like we all complement each other, and ultimately we'll continue to grow the Chicago film market.
Excellent. Are we still on track to begin filming? What is it, August of 2024, I believe?
Earlier, actually, March of 2024.
Excellent. Where is it right now? If you walk through there, is there still construction tools everywhere, or is it starting to take shape? How's it look? How often are you here?
I'm there often. In terms of all the stage walls are up. We're putting on the roof on the north side, and we have a 3-acre site on the south side where we have 3 stages, 9 total. So 6 on the north side and 3 on the south side. We're putting in the I-beams, steel I-beams for the south side. And again, on the north side, we're just buttoning up. So we'll probably have the stages sealed up by, the end of August. And then everyone will start working on the inside of those stages. We also are simultaneously working on all our support spaces. We're building that out as we speak now. So we're definitely on track, if not possibly maybe earlier than March.
That's fantastic. And for people who don't know, this is a huge, enormous building on Diversey, just west of Logan Square, I think right before you get into the neighborhood known as Avondale. And right. It's actually a gorgeous giant warehouse with these big windows. I think, I don't know, 8 or 10 stories, maybe something like that. And evidently you said, what, 23 acres in addition to the building?
Yeah, 6 stories. And like you mentioned, the windows and the creative space from getting a ton of light from every different angle just really resonates well with the creative community. And that's an important thing.
Excellent. And then for you personally and professionally, what is the greatest challenge? What do you enjoy most? And what is the greatest challenge in stepping back from working on an individual film? And you've done a lot of that. And I think you have something coming up to be released maybe next year or something like that. And stepping back and focusing on the big picture. You're shifting gears. You're kind of getting off the set and into the office. How do you like that?
I really enjoy it. I had some fun writing and directing and producing, and I was fortunate to be a part of a family that was doing it decades before I was. And so I feel like it's, any filmmaker, you always have that bug, and you never lose it if you really have it. And yet, I feel like I'm in a wonderful place. I'm around productions. I'm around the smell of the coffee of craft service, to the roar of the trucks and the generators, and watching people build sets. So I can act like a kid in a candy store instead of having be the one trying to, make the candy. And when it comes down to it, it's a great position to be in. I'm grateful, and I'm excited to be, frankly, a part of something that will transform the Chicago film and television market. And that excites me as much as making a story told and getting it out there into the audience.
This is your opus. This is your epic. And one of
This
the
is my
things one of the things the press release mentioned is that you're going to, diversify the storytelling and increase, I believe, the revenue or grow the economics of the studio. Are you there yet, or are you still in the development phase? Do we have anyone signed to start filming here?
I think the strikes kind of caused a delay in that.
Can you end that? How close are you to putting an end to the strike?
I'm very close. I'm dealing with everybody involved, and they're listening. No, I'm just kidding. I'm nowhere near the conversation. I'm an audience member to it. I do think that there's some obstacles to get through, but I feel that, look, at the end of the day, writers want to write, and studios and streamers need to produce. So I feel confident they'll eventually get to a resolution that's fair and equitable, like the DGA. I think they set the tone. And we'll see who else follows in that direction. But I do feel confident eventually it'll get done. When it comes to, our development, we're definitely in the throes of construction, but we're working on other opportunities, simultaneous. And we feel, by the time the end of the year hits, I think we'll have some great news to, expose about what's happening in the beginning of the year and with who. And, that's based on the strikes hopefully resolving sooner than later.
Agreed, hopefully. And then finally, and most importantly, let's talk about your knowledge and admiration for Chicago's great cinematic tradition. Let's say it's Thanksgiving and you're in charge of putting on a movie for everyone after dinner ends. And you want to go to the Chicago genre. What are you going to pick? What's your favorite Chicago movie? You got Blues Brothers, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Risky Business, Untouched. I mean, you got a lot to pick from. High Fidelity. Which one is your favorite and why?
Well, I'm a huge fan of John Hughes and his movies. So, technically, all those movies, which all were pretty much primarily made in Chicago. When we over Christmas last year, ironically, family got sick with COVID, and we started watching all the Chicago movies, and there were a lot. Vince Vaughn.
Wait, in LA, you're watching Chicago movies?
Yes. And what's beautiful and wonderful about Chicago is the people, the culturalization of how all those people work together in this incredible, beautiful city with this river going through it. And, it just has this four-season feel. It feels family oriented. It has all the touch points, of sarcasm, of, personality and grit. And I think, set across, various different looks. I think you can't get a better, environment than Chicago for filmmakers, for creative people. The cold is the cold, but it also adds the character of the fourth season, which is the snow and the fall and the spring that you see, only in certain parts of the US. And in Los Angeles, we're one season. And so seeing that turn of events is like, watching a character evolve. And that, to me is in a parallel path to, storytelling in Chicago. And so, I'm a fan of the Batman movies that have shot there. I think, to me, Christopher Nolan's Batman version was my favorite. But, also, love the fact that Charlie Chaplin started there in the early 1900s, Sony Studios or SNA Studios, excuse me. And so, a lot of people don't realize that Chicago is one of the first studio markets before the mob took it to the West, in the early 1900s. So it has a lot more history than it gets credit for. And then you throw in Oprah Winfrey and Phil Donahue and the talk shows. I mean, Steve Harvey, what happened to the talk show genre? But, again, that was another central market for talk shows. So I think it's just across the spectrum. really has catered to so many different formats over the decades. And, frankly, great storytelling. All these movies and all these TV shows and all these different entertainment products have come out and really shined. And look at the audience that the Chicago One shows get. Look at all these new products that are coming into the market that are being shot there, not just because it's Chicago. So excited for the future of Chicago, and well deserved.
Well, on behalf of Screen Magazine, we share your enthusiasm. So welcome to the community. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good luck, and please keep us posted. People come back to Screen Magazine and see what's going on. This is Shawn Papazian, who is leading the development and operations at Field Studios. I'm Dan Patton for Screen Magazine.